Welcome to the future where the chains go free. Liza and Maaike talking we be free. Crypto queens with the knowledge on deck. NFTs, DAOs, cutting all the checks. We free where the code unlocks. Decentralized power breaking all the locks. Liza and Maaike, voices on the block. Podcast waves, they can't be stopped. Smart contracts, yeah, we keep it tight.
Oh, hey everyone, and welcome to Tea and Web3. I'm Maaike.
I'm Lisa, and today we're gonna dive into a very chaotic, a bit of a dramatic and slightly poetic journey that I had with my second me. Think about it as in some songwriting, some Docker drama, and just enough emotional breakdowns to make it work at the end of the day.
I mean, it's got everything. Tech stress, artistic breakthroughs, with just some light existential crisis just sprinkled in there, you know?
Light?
I mean, okay. Just some heavy sprinkling.
Yeah, heavy sprinkle.
Heavy sprinkle.
No,
Okay.
it was not light. I'm sure this experience got everything, all the biggest hits. But for the context, you know, we had to train this AI for our course, our little AI agent that is going to somehow represent us or support us. It's kind of a digital double situation. We had to train it over 5 weeks, had to use any materials we have, course materials, the simulations. We also had workshops, anything we can. The whole idea was to explore how AI can work together in collaboration with humans when it's actually personal. And how does it feel to build something so personal for AI?
True. And I also remember, correct me if I'm wrong, that you had a pretty clear vision of yours. Like you wanted something creative, something, I believe you said like really you.
Yeah. That was my whole plan. I was like, because some people were talking about just using it for course materials, but I was like, no. I want to make it something very me. So my first idea was to use it for running because as a runner.
Oh, shout out to Rotterdam Marathon. She just completed that one.
Okay, yeah, I'm not gonna gloat about that.
Oh, yes, you should.
No, but you know, I always talk about it, and I thought, you know, why not build a personal running coach?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds cool.
Yeah, and people pay a lot of money for that, and I was like, you know, I can feed it my own stats and like, you know, some well-used, some well-known programs for, you know, basically anything, and then that would have been so cool. But then I kind of thought about it, and my own running app already bullies me so much.
Yeah.
I was like, you know, that's enough. No, I don't want anything more.
Not like another bully to add to the list?
No, no, thank you. So my second idea was a bit of a different perspective and like still very me, but I was like, okay, let's make it a bit more creative. I actually stumbled upon this researcher. Well, she's also a composer. Her last name is J.E.H, and she talks a lot in her research. Well, she's a composer first, so she started with composing music, and then she kind of started diving into academic part of it. And she's looking into how AI and humans can work together on writing music, composing music, all of the great things. So I was like, why shouldn't I co-create my music with AI? I was like, that would be cool. I wasn't sure the extent I wanted to go to with this, but I was like, okay, there were so many complex parts about songwriting, the lyrical aspect, the music composition. There is also this part where I'm not sure if I'm a lyrical genius or if it's just dumb and cringe. I have no idea.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what, maybe AI can help me with creative writing.
Oh, okay, so almost like a judgmental best friend that can tell you these lyrics are great or they're cringy. Just something along those lines.
Yeah. No. I needed someone with somewhat decent taste, and you know, since I trained it, it has somewhat decent taste.
Of course.
I actually, funnily enough, since you know we started doing this course and having more and more conversations, since you know our phones, our lovely phones, listening to us all the time.
Oh, everything.
My For You page on TikTok has been a lot about music and technology.
Yeah.
Which I haven't seen a lot about co-creating in a way that I wanted to train to do. But what I saw is this very, very cool girl who I will put in the video here.
Oh, yeah.
On
where?
Maaike's face.
Oh, my face, yeah. Just delete me.
She made some kind of AI recognition program or whatever, where she can control how her voice recorder works, I guess, with her hand movement. So she would like start singing, and then with specific movement of her hand, the auto-tune, I guess, would turn on.
Yeah.
So she would in real time manipulate how the sound worked.
Oh, that sounds really interesting.
So that was quite cool. I'm not sure if it's the way it worked, if it was edited this way. Honestly, no idea. But it looked very cool.
I mean, it serves as inspiration then.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I couldn't do anything like that. I don't have the brains for that. But I was like, I can do something similar. And maybe you remember in our very, very first class, we had this guest lecture. And there was this thesis about how at some point AI would substitute artists.
Yeah, I remember.
And I think even then I was like, I don't really believe in that. And I was thinking people will always cherish the human part of performing and writing. So this approach of co-creating, of collaboration, I think was just a bit closer to my heart than, just fully relying on AI for everything.
You know what's actually... I mean, I love what you're saying, all of that. What is very hilarious, and I have to point it out, is our intro music, because there was no human that touched that. Okay. It was fully AI generated.
I put in the prompt.
Oh, okay. Some recognition for the prompt, I guess.
For the prompts. And also, to be fair, I think this is one of those instances where AI can be used a lot in music and in art, especially... Well, it's still kind of taking jobs off composers, but if okay,
can we just talk about that?
Can we just, I'm pretty sure that was the same website that they used for the first guest lecture.
Oh, yeah, I'm pretty sure.
The beat is the same in the very first, but I think we had 8.
I think so.
Around 8.
Yes. Do you remember the one where you texted me being like, I did something? And I'm like, what did you do?
I asked the chat to the little chatty that we love. I asked it to create an intro song for our podcast. I gave it the name, gave it like basically the same intonations to every other thing. And then I was like, make it a fantasy battle.
Yes. So this music sounds like we have this epic fight. We're making our way through freaking blockchain and everything.
Yeah, we are cutting our way through blockchain quite literally.
Yeah.
No, it was fun, but I think for podcast intros and for advertisement, if it's like a 30-second track, I think that's where AI really has the edge, because instead of paying someone, to compose something from scratch, and the library of the sound there, insane.
Yes.
I just was scrolling through it to find like the sound that I like, but insane. And we can talk about it for hours. I love this, but okay.
Okay, but maybe let's go back on track.
Second me.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna bore you with all the details that took place before I actually started working with Second Me, but I can just tell you that at the beginning everything was great. It was working, and then I just started feeding my data to Second Me. Followed all the tutorials, all the grades. And I actually wrote a document where I outlined the themes of the things that I usually write about, kind of giving collection of lyrics to Second Me, so it has a better idea of what I usually write about. The issue was there is Second Me, I think, only allows documents like PDFs, Word documents, like, or text entries. Yeah. Hence, I couldn't really upload one of my songs. I couldn't really be like, so here's my song, take the sound.
Oh, yeah, provide the context to it. It's giving, I don't know, Brace the Atoms or something sound-wise, but it's just lyrics.
Exactly. So it's just like lyrics. So I was like, I put one of my songs into ChatGPT, love our little chatty, and I was like, describe this song to me in a few sentences. I was like, if you had to explain how the song sounds, how can you do that? Because, I needed to give some context to what I do, because I couldn't just be like, yeah, I'm sad, hopeful, kind of depressed, indie folk. Yeah, I'm not really working. I don't think the chat would really understand what I'm trying to say here. But this process kind of made me feel a bit weird, because I spent so long trying to write those lyrics, trying to figure out the composition of the song, and then all of this time and effort was kind of reduced to like 2 or 3 sentences.
I mean, it kind of it hits your ego at this point as well, because you spent like hours only for it to be compromised in 3 sentences in 2 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. No, but I really also had to have some kind of logic when I was doing this whole process, because I couldn't just upload anything. I really had to think about it, and I think that's where I encountered like my first insight in this whole process. Because in order for second me to really reflect who I am and like help me with the task that I'm asking it to help me with, as the songwriting, I really had to first reflect on what I do myself, which low-key was giving therapy session, not gonna lie. Yeah. But I had to think about, okay, what I write about. What is like the best sounds or the best topics that I raise that I think are the best, like for me, that I feel the best about, which surprisingly hard, and there also the chat was helping me a bit in terms of like asking me questions, and if I was stuck on what I was doing, always coming back to the chat that could ask me more questions. Because if you just give it lyrics, or if you just give it like no context whatsoever, the things I write about might seem a bit insane for it. I don't want to come off insane.
No. It sounds kind of similar to something Miller said. There was this article, I think in 2018, where he talked about humans and machine, that they should work together symbolically to match like each other's strengths and weaknesses. It's very much like what you explain here, uploading the lyrics, going through this entire process, like teaching it everything, especially creating something that makes sure that your AI is hyper aware of the context you're trying to set.
And that notion, I feel like has been brought more and more in literature. Korteling with the colleagues in 2021 also very much talks about this whole co-creation. They really call human and AI colleagues, partners, and that is exactly what I mean when I talk about collaboration with me and my second me. That's very accurately describes the situation that I was going through. And I think it's also very important to mention here, it wasn't the one-time data upload where you just where you just give it something and you let it go. I was very much trying to keep it up to date with my thoughts. So if I would write something throughout those weeks, I would try to upload it. So it's constantly updated. But I think something else that I did that I was actually very proud of myself for thinking, since I was asking it to help me with creative writing, I was like, you know what, I'm gonna give it a bit of a help. So first of all, I uploaded my favorite lyrics that I love, so it kind of knows the vibe that I'm going for. And then my favorite website, RhymeZone, shout out RhymeZone.
RhymeZone? What is RhymeZone?
It gives you rhymes to all the words you want. And girl, there is a paid subscription there that I had at some point. You
were really going for it.
Don't ask me what the subscription does, because I cannot tell you what was different, but I was like, you know what, I'm determined, so I need a subscription. But I basically downloaded a list of 1,000 most popular rhymes or something, and I just put it in the second me. I was like, if you can get any help, I think this was the best, because I needed to rhyme. So that worked beautifully.
But to this point, it all sounds to go fairly well. It's almost like the opening sequence of The Sound of Music. You're frolicking down the hills of the side, and everything. But we talked earlier about how this has been a chaotic wreckage of success, basically. So I'm getting a little confused. Are we getting to the point where you got stuck? What were the issues you ran into, and are we gonna hear more words like trauma, maybe? Or frustration?
Oh, yes. Tech trauma, we call it. And it's here.
Oh, can you tell me more about it?
So everything that happened so far was very much week 1. Everything, great. And then week 2 and 3, how to put it lightly?
Like a dumpster fire, a disaster.
I think disaster is a great word. I think disaster is it encapsulates the energy there, because I follow class tutorials, suggested our favorite tutorial lady.
Of course, tutorial lady.
Shout out.
Yes.
I tried everything. Docker, of course. Tried training with a llama again. But every time it would just get stuck at 25%. And I was full on frustrated, of course. So I would constantly, whenever I would get an error, I would, go back to ChatGPT and like, we love ChatGPT. Without it, we would not be here.
I mean, sure. If every time you asked Magnus the question, he was like, "Let me ask ChatGPT."
Yeah, and it was a whole routine. Like, some people have like morning routine, like night routine. I had this. I start a terminal. Yeah. I run it. I wait until it freezes.
Love that.
I take the error that it gives me, put it in the ChatGPT, get the results, try to fix the code again. It runs again, freezes again. I repeat the loop over and over again until the point where I'm so frustrated that I really want to throw my laptop off my balcony. At that point, I just sigh, try to relax, and then just close my laptop. That's it.
It sounds like you need a trophy for the amount of persistence you showed there.
Oh, I think I really deserve it. It was insane. And then I think it was week 3. It was your debate. It was your debate week. Was it week 3?
I think, it was the 13th debating. Yeah.
It's just like I was in class and I was like, you know what? I'm here sitting with all the people who are doing the same thing, getting stuck at the same 25%. I was like, let us use our collective brains. Yes. And it just stopped working altogether.
Wait, what? It stopped?
It just fully. I couldn't access the local host. Like
no.
I couldn't open Second Me anymore. And I was like, ooh. That's great. I even thought about meditating because I was just losing it.
But like, how did you manage to get it running again? Because we are talking about a success story here, and at this point, it sounds very much like a non-success story.
Yeah, at some point it felt like not a real success, but I guess what really kept me going was the fact that I still had control over what I was doing. You know what I mean? Like, it was not running, yes, but also I had the means to change it and keep changing it a bit. So you go in another direction, you change the content, change the code. I think that's what Desi and Ryan meant with self-determination theory. You really, this autonomy that you have, you feel autonomous, competent, connected, you stay motivated. You keep going. Even when nothing works, even when everything breaks, you still keep working. So I continue the process. And at some point, I was like, okay, Olama, no, my friend, not working. I was like, let me see what else I can do. So I decided to go another route. So I changed the model that I was training my Second Me with from Olama, the one that I was using so far, to just the OpenAI one. Took my own API key from my account, put €5 on my OpenAI account.
Wait, you actually paid for it?
Yeah, so I'm gonna take care of something. I'm sorry, but I'm paying enough for this education.
So RSM should expect a
tiki soon.
Okay, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm. And I tried again with that new founded account.
So, okay, by this point, you've paid for it. You've tried everything. You've got a community sitting in this class. And then your laptop was, how about no or how about yes? Like, did it end up working?
Girl, I ran out of disk space.
No.
I did. Everything crashed again. And I was like, ooh, twice. I had to open my terminal again. It was not running. I started deleting random folders. And mind you, love this laptop.
Yes.
but it also, I've been having it since like 2021, 2020, 2022 maybe. Okay. And
so it's seen a couple of years then.
It's seen some time. It also holds some memories. So I was going into all the folders and cleaning it. Girl, I found pictures of my ex from 2022.
Oh no!
And I was like,
straight to the bin.
To the bin.
Yes. Let's clear out that mess.
So that one there, then all the files from my bachelor's, because I still kept all the assignments. I found like my first year marketing project in one of the folders, and I was like, also to the bin. I don't care enough about it. So it just honestly, I was trying to clean as much as I could.
Okay, so you've cleaned everything. And it works? Question mark?
Yeah, girl, it did.
Yes. Oh my god.
I will insert the video that I sent to my friend that night because it just describes my feelings that night. It was stuck at 80%.
Okay, don't get me wrong. 80% is still an increase from 25, right?
But it's still smaller than 100. I wanted to make it work. I was there. I was sitting on the floor, my laptop on my bed, and I was like praying.
Oh, you were sitting on the floor? Yeah. That means business. Yeah. You can no longer work on the desk. No.
And then, honestly, at some point, I was not touching my laptop. I let it sit there, and I was walking around, and I was like on my phone, but I was like, I'm not touching my laptop, no matter what. And it was still at 80%, but a few hours passed. Had to fix Docker again. Had to like delete everything again. Then started again. API configurations checked, changed multiple times, but they apparently worked. And then after all the 7 circles of this digital hell, I saw Docker front end, second me running, back end, second me running. And I open my second me, and it has like a little confetti popping. And they're like, it's been trained.
It's really, yes. So it worked.
Yes, it did.
You got to 100%.
It did.
So, okay, then the next question begs. I mean, all the tech battles aside, you survived the 7 circles of digital hell, as you just said. Can you tell us, like, what was it like using it?
It was weird. I would be very honest here. It was very weird. I tried the interviewer feature first, which was very interesting in the way that the first question, I was like, I want to write an emotional song. Like, how can I? And it goes, let's talk about your feelings. Oh.
It sounds almost like an attuned, emotionally but therapist. Let me talk about your feelings. Do you want to do a diary entry as well while you're at it?
It felt like therapy, girl, and it was honestly it was interesting because it was asking me questions based on the things that I wrote. So I was like, okay, it learned about me a lot actually. And then I gave it like a poem that I wrote to give me feedback. It gave me feedback, which was partially great. Like there were some entries that very much in depth summarized what I was talking about and gave me even some points of improvement, which I found great. I was like, that's feedback of someone who is like not biased at all. But then at some point it was giving absolutely like out of the context text, and I was like, I'm not sure if the issue was my training or the setup itself, or like just like in general second me just doesn't really work well. I don't know.
It was something.
Yeah, it was something. I guess it just because we talked about how AI is smarter than humans. I feel like I just had very high expectations, and maybe in this case the expectations didn't really meet the reality that much.
No, I can understand that, but still, it sounds like a real like hybrid situation we've got going on there. You weren't just consuming the output from the second me; you were actually shaping it, teaching it, correcting, and almost like being reflected towards it to better it.
Yeah, no, and maybe you're right. And that's where the course readings really started coming in, and you have to reflect on this whole, like, it was very chaotic. At some point you have to
look somewhere else trying to find the answers.
Yeah, or try to figure out why the hell this is working and not working. So It's like in the study from 2024, I think we also had it in our class ratings by Ration Femina. This whole hybrid setup that I've been talking about so far, that's really something that I experienced firsthand, and it's the only way to work. You have to adapt to each other. I was trying to adapt my entries. I was trying to adapt the data the information that I was giving to my AI agent, and second, it didn't adapt. Oh, it was trying. Okay, it was trying to adapt to me as well, so we could actually work well as collaborators.
Okay. Even it kind of sounds like the governance side also kind of shows up in what you're trying to explain here. I think it was the article of Limnieu, I don't know if I pronounce it correct, and some other contributors about the blockchain governance as a new way to organize and collaborate organizations. So it sounds like you were figuring out how to collaborate with this fragmented, decentralized AI you are building, because you, of course, are here and the AI is living somewhere on the web. Yeah. Well, it's living locally actually on your computer.
My little MacBook.
Yeah.
It was my own infrastructure that I was building. There were no rules. There was no one who controlled it apart from me. And also in course readings, I think I actually read the article when I was preparing for my debate. Reneke was talking about whether this new decentralization, whether it's a miracle or it's a faux, what's happening, is it good or bad? And honestly, it's both. I feel like from one side, AI really helped me be this therapist, which maybe it didn't sign up to be, but...
Oh, wait, second me was the therapist, or you were the therapist for the second me?
The second me was a therapist. I think it was asking me the right questions that made me think and made me work. And the feedback that I was given was also very great. But at the same time, the whole process, the whole setup, I was talking about it earlier, it was just so frustrating. It was so long and so frustrating that by the time that I actually had to start working, every single mistake that Segme would make me so frustrated, so upset, that I was just I was not enjoying the process anymore. And genuinely, I was what again? What's happening? What now? But it was still a very, very interesting interaction, and it was actually a very beautiful thing because I never did it before, and now there was some kind of program that has maybe not my brain, but something similar to my way of thinking, which is kind of great.
And that you created.
Yeah. I'm like, wow, I created something.
Exactly.
Insane. But also, if you look at it from a different perspective, that was something that I was thinking about. If this is the future, if this is how we're going to be writing songs in the future, who owns this?
Ooh, that's a good question, because do you own it? Or does the company providing Segme and Olama own it?
Yeah, because, I trained it, yes, but it's still artificial intelligence that helped me. Is it shared? What's the rule? And I think this ownership topic, I think even from the very start, we were talking about it in class as well. It's very, very important question to ask before we can use it as a standard practice.
Exactly, because who is the ownership? Who has the responsibility? Where is that headed?
Yeah. Who do we blame?
Who do we blame? The favorite question in class.
Yeah. The favorite. I will know if I could go in circles back and forth in the first debate on accountability and
only
ownership.
The first debate. I think every debate by this point.
Yeah, I think the first debate just stuck to me just solely because I was there and I had to go back and forth and try to figure out what exactly we're doing. But I'm maybe next episode we'll cover the question.
Ooh, maybe, could be. But okay, so we covered that. But any other thoughts? Perhaps because we also had to run the simulation, the V8 simulation for this course as well. What was your thought on this whole simulation that we did?
Well, it was really interesting, and I think it was a very unconventional way to have a look at different perspectives surrounding the new technologies, and how sometimes you have to have this like trade-off when you make a choice, because in simulation there were so many parties coming to you, and someone was like, yeah, that's great, someone was like, no, and you had to actually figure out and try to balance it out. So that was great. It actually reminded me of something we did in our bachelor's. We had this course where as a team you had to act as a company, and you would make decisions every week, and then every week you would need to evaluate your new standings, because every company would make some kind of move. So it's like this little business environment where everyone acts differently, and you have to not only think about your decisions but about how others might act.
Exactly. So how does it affect not just you and your team but the entire organization?
Yeah. So it was very similar to that, but there I think there were a lot more influential decisions. So every decision you make would somehow influence the game.
Yeah, somewhere along the chain that would happen something because you picked something.
Yeah. I think if there was a similar weight on the answers here, I think because there were only a few answers that were like very, very influential, I think that would like raise the stakes a bit, and maybe it would be even more interesting, because you would just like kind of read through instructions, read through things, and it kind of just like you just go through it. But then if there was something at stake, you'd be like, okay, I actually need to stop here, think about it I think that would be just a takeaway for maybe next simulations. But apart from that, quite a cool concept.
But what about the course in general? And with the course, we mean the Web3 course we've been following for 4 weeks by this point.
Yeah. Well, I joined it because I would never think about this topic anywhere. It was really not my main interest. And I was like, I want to challenge myself. I was like, might be fun, might be interesting. And it's been fun. It's been weird at parts sometimes. Some parts were very weird, but it was a very curious thing to talk about. And let's be honest, we all use ChatGPT, and especially thesis.
Oh, yes. Thank you, ChatGPT, for the help writing everything.
Yeah. But at least at the start of the course, I never really thought about what kind of possibilities new technologies can bring, like Web3, blockchain, DAOs. It's really, it was very eye-opening, I think, at parts. And today, I think during the debates, we also realized that there is no black or white here. No. It's very much a compromise that we have to figure out. And this balance we need to find between...
what does AI do and what does the human do, and how to best collaborate.
Exactly. No, because also I think in our debate for sure, we brought up a case of COVID where people were better at reacting to some things because the algorithm didn't know yet
how to do it. I think we're evolving so fast that sometimes the AI might get stuck as well.
Yeah. So want to figure out how to collaborate with AI, not try to ban it or try to stop it from helping.
So to wrap it up a little bit, first of all, you survived. You built something and it actually worked to some extent, I believe. Yeah. And with that, you're saying were you able to learn from this experience at all? What were some takeaways?
Yeah, no, it for sure was a learning curve. And I talked a lot about this collaboration part, which I think is the biggest takeaway. And I would highly recommend trying something like this because it also teaches you a lot about where to find help when you need it. No, but it was also great. It was a little bit of a community building situation when everyone struggles and you all just struggle together. There was so many fun aspects of it that I would highly recommend, but maybe not on your MacBook and maybe not when it's thesis time. I think that's a bit of a downside.
Oh, yes. Okay, so next episode, it's my turn to share. Spoiler alert, my second me never made it past the onboarding stage.
I'm so excited. I cannot wait to hear about that little train wreck that you had there.
Yes, but that's for next week. Thank you all so much for listening to Tea and Web3. I'm your host, Maaike.
I'm Lisa, and we will see you in the next episode.
In the wallet, Bitcoin in the stash, talking metaverse moves where digital clash. Liza brings the wisdom, Maaike got the flair. Pull up to the pod, learn what's rare.